Hello. This is a response video, or not a response video, but it's an answer to a question about the Deepakisms. One of my subscribers, and I won't mention the name because they sent the message via personal message, so I don't want to put their name out if they don't want their name out. But they sent me a video, and the video was about a tragedy that recently happened in Mexico at a daycare center, where the daycare center caught fire, and I think it housed something like 150 innocent children, and 41 of the children were, at last count, were dead, and 35 of the children were badly burned, and I guess they were still going through the wreckage to try to find more children and determine how many were still alive and how many had unfortunately passed away. And the question that they posed to me was this. You know, we talk in these Deepakisms about, you know, the universe and God and Deepak and how you know, we are all interconnected and how the universe is so loving. But then when you see a tragedy like this, how do you make sense of it? And so they asked me if I could post a video and address how you address, or how I guess Deepak would address a tragedy like this. And this happens all over the world. You know, this is not an isolated incident. There's other tragedies of you know, children. There's incest, there's molestation, there's rape, and then there are mass tragedies like you know, Katrina and the tsunami and things like that. So I have a response though, and I in no way mean to minimize this tragedy or any others when I say this. And I don't want to say this is verbatim what Deepak would say, but I can say just from research that I've done and from what my own personal beliefs are and everything I've read of Deepak's books and just my understanding of the universe, I think the first place that we would start with an answer to that question would be universal law. The universe is the universe. Whether we as individuals access it or not, whether we acknowledge it, whether we are aware of it or not, the universe is always at work. The universe is 100% creative. That is its job, is to create. As we speak, it is creating things. It is manifesting people's dreams. It is creating things that people have been focusing on. And it's always creating. That's wonderful when we want it to create a fantastic president. It's not good when it creates something like what we just witnessed, or what I just described was sent to me in this video. The universe does not judge. So everything that's positive, everything that's negative, good or bad, comes out of the universe. Okay, for example, from a personal perspective, we know in our own lives, if we think good thoughts, if we focus on positive things, if we focus on our desire, the universe pays us back in kind. Those are the things that we receive. We also know from experience, if we focus on the negative, we focus on things that we don't like, we focus on things that we don't want, those are the things that we receive. Okay, that's just kind of like a general overview. But everybody's doing that, whether they're conscious of the universe or not. The universe is still at work. And there's a lot of people who think very, very, very negative thoughts. I mean, people who victimize the people that I just described, they think very negative thoughts. People think sick thoughts. All of those things go into the universe. And what I would say to a tragedy like this is that eventually those things hit a critical mass. It's negative thought. It's also our shadow selves. You know, we all have our ego, and then we also have our spirit selves. But this is where we talked in one of our Deepakisms about accepting ambiguity. There are things about ourselves that we reject and deny. We might be arrogant, we might be egotistical, we might be judgmental, we might be critical. Those are things that if we don't learn to accept them about ourselves, we deny them, act as if they don't exist, and then evil grows from that. So, we have our positive self that we like to send out into the world, but then we have our negative self, and if we don't accept and acknowledge the negative parts of ourselves, they have the ability to grow. I don't know if that makes sense, but just think about the difference, or try this in your own personal world. If you have a negative thought, tell that thought, say to that thought, I acknowledge you and I accept you. And immediately you'll see that negative thought start to dissipate. But if you focus on it and sort of like ruminate in it, then you'll see how it grows and how that one negative thought will lead to another negative thought to another negative thought. Anyway, that's what I'm referring to when there's our shadow selves, the part of ourselves that we deny, or the part of ourselves that we reject or judge. Those are things that we have to watch for, because those things grow. That's on an individual level, but then there's also a collective consciousness. So everyone not only thinks negative thoughts, but then everyone also has their shadow self. And everybody rejecting and judging and denying things that are negative or evil within themselves, that all goes into the universe, and the universe is busy creating. So it hits a critical mass and it presents itself, it manifests itself. Enough people think about killing little kids, and a daycare catches on fire and kills 41 children. Enough people think of killing people because they don't like their race or something like that, and a tsunami happens and wipes out thousands of people from a certain background. It may or may not be that literal, but I think that it is almost that literal. So to explain a tragedy like that, it's basically our responsibility. And that's why with the knowledge of the universe, it is our personal responsibility to be mindful of what we think and what we put out there, not only for our own lives, but for our collective consciousness. That's basically a personal responsibility that we have once we're aware of how things work, because all you can do is control yourself. I mean, you can't control the world, you can't control what your neighbor thinks or says or does, but you can control yourself. And if you can change your thoughts and make your thoughts the most positive that you can, and make your thoughts the most focused on love and caring and patience and compassion that you can, then that's really the best you can do. It's your own personal responsibility. That's why the war on drugs and the war on terror and all that doesn't work, because it's focused on the wrong thing. How about, it might seem counterintuitive, but how about love the drug addict? How about understand the terrorist? Something that focuses on something positive. That's why McCain didn't win, and why the man who ran on the slogan of hope and change did win, because positive always wins over negative. But unfortunately, our thoughts and our actions and our behaviors go into the universe just like everything else does, and the universe creates. It does not discern what it should and shouldn't create. It creates what we tell it to create. And unfortunately, we haven't gotten to a point where us as a collective consciousness, as human beings, have focused enough on love, peace, compassion, tolerance, and things like that to keep things from that from happening, or like that from happening. And on a positive note, inherent in every problem is an opportunity. So there's an opportunity here in Mexico, and perhaps we'll see that something good does come of it. Thank you for asking the question, and I hope this response satisfies you. Be blessed.